Welcome, Mr. Mack-Poole, 1 Minute History. Today we're going to be looking at the golden years of Weimar. In particular, we'll be looking at the amazing charismatic energy of the dynamic Gustav Stresemann. Now, what's important to remember is that I am a socio-economic historian. I primarily see history through the lens of socio-economic events. However, we have to admit that his personal energies do carry forth a huge impact and raft of consequences for the golden years of Weimar between 1924 to 1929. One of the first things that Gustav Stresemann did was set up a Rentenbank and a Rentenmark. This would be a temporary currency. The reason that he introduced this currency was because of the awful events of hyperinflation. He needed to give the German public some confidence in the money in their pocket. He then replaced this with the more permanent Reichsmark and backed it up with a Reichsbank. Now, because he did this, Charles Dawes, an American banker, agreed to lend Germany a lot of money. We call this the Dawes Plan. It's effectively a loan circle, which I'm sure you've heard about, as this is a revision activity. Now, this is very important because it slowed down German reparations and enabled German industry to grow. In fact, German industry would grow over the next 5 years by double. So it shows the clear success of the Dawes Plan. It was, however, unpopular with extremists like the Nazi Party, who saw the debt, however long, as chains for the German people. What's really important for your understanding is that the golden year of Weimar's, these golden years could not have occurred without these American loans. But if these American loans ever falter or fail, the German economy will break down like a house of cards. Stresemann was also very impactful on the diplomatic international stage, and he signed the Locarno Treaty with Britain and France, which assured France of its borders with Alsace-Lorraine. He did not, however, give any guarantees to Germany's eastern borders, and as reasonable as Stresemann was, this shows you that if he was replaced by someone more extreme as a nationalist, i.e. Adolf Hitler, that those borders, again, would not be respected in a more aggressive term. One of the really good consequences of this Locarno Pact is that Germany was admitted to the League of Nations in 1926. Now, this was really making Germany seem that the days of the Treaty of Versailles had gone. They weren't being dictated to, they didn't have a dictator anymore, they were negotiating on their own terms. This improved the way that many everyday Germans regarded the Weimar Republic. Germany would also be one of the key signatories of the Kellogg-Briand Pact, which really was an international movement for peace and promised to disarm, although no one did. So the impact of this pact is very doubtful to me. Stresemann would also silence the Young Plan, which further slowed down the rate of German reparations. Hitler would say this was passing on the debt to the unborn. So again, extremist opposition. A key turning point would be these two events. Gustav Stresemann would die in October 1929, and the Wall Street crash would make those American loans crash down like a house of cards.